I thought. Continuing on with our speakers today, our next speaker is Darri Murphy, and she is speaking on Sun in Time. Darri.
Thank you, Gail. I don't know where that came from, but that's interesting. Hi, everyone. I'm glad you could come today. My name's Darri Murphy. I've been an astrologer for 50 years. I'm going to age myself. I started when I was 19, so you figure out the math there. Yeah, I'm counting. That's good. Stay 49. So today's talk, Sun in Time, is one of the earliest that I ever gave as an astrologer, and I gave it to a yoga group. And so everybody there was pretty much a lay person. They didn't know astrology. How many people here do know astrology, like chart-wise? How many of you had your chart done? Okay, chart's done. And how many know absolutely nothing? Okay, great, because that's where we're going to start out. We're going to start out with I know absolutely nothing about astrology. So we're going to go to what you've heard then. We're going to talk a little bit about sun signs first. But before I begin my actual talk, one of the things I like to do is get everybody in sync. So I would like you all to kind of just close your eyes for a moment. Take a couple of deep breaths, ground and center yourself. I know you all know how to do that. Maybe 3 deep breaths and then blow it out and just kind of let all the tension go. And while your eyes are closed, what I'd like to do is I would like to thank you personally for coming. And while your eyes are closed, I'd like you to thank yourselves for what it took you to get here. And kind of go home for a moment from when you began, whether it was 3 months ago or 2 days ago, or all the planning that it might have taken you to get here, and thank yourself for bringing yourself here today. Just take a moment to be home in your favorite space to do that, because I'm going to take you someplace else in your home. I'm going to take you to your favorite window that you look at the sky from. And if you're in a wooded area, maybe you have to go outside to do this instead of a window. But where do you watch the sun? From your home. Where does it come up? And take a moment to just kind of be there. And if you don't see these things in your mind's eye, just kind of feel them or know that they're there. And see that sun then move from that morning position. And if you can still see it across your window as it rises up to noon, I want you to kind of either use that window or go to the next place where you might see your sun at noon. Maybe you got to walk out your front door or your back door. And just kind of see the sun on up there in from your own home space. Could be workspace, because at noon, you know, a lot of us are out in the world. And now I want you to come and I want you to follow that sun either through your window at home or wherever you've landed there. I want you to follow it to the west where it's setting. Just kind of get a feel for the time it takes between noon and sunset and what you're doing at home most often, and get that feel for when the sun sets. And now we're not going to see the sun out the window anymore. We're just going to kind of have to feel, where is the sun right now? Where has it gone after it has set in the west? And so I'd like you to take your attention at your home now to your feet. And feel the sun just like it was overhead directly under you. In the night sky is clear, but the sun is at your feet. And where are you at this kind of middle of the night space? Generally, most of us are in bed, unless you're night owls, like I guess most of us might be night owls. But where are we? What are we doing? And now take yourself from that midnight hour, the middle of the night, and bring yourself up to the eastern window where you first started, when I took you home and took you to the window. And go back to that eastern window where the sun rises again. And now you've hit yourself a full day, 24 hours. And the sun has, and we and the earth have rotated on our axis so that we could experience this. Okay, and again, thank yourself for taking yourself home for a moment. Do another couple of deep breaths, and then gently bring yourself to open your eyes. And again, what it takes to be here, what it takes to be us, what it takes to be a metaphysician in this life. Because not everybody understands who we are, but we understand who we are. And so we're family. And I have only been to Sakkara once, in 2018, but I always wanted to come back because y'all feel like me. Y'all feel like metaphysicians. You know how to center and ground yourself and use positive and use your guidances and whatever we call them, right? So for me, with Sakkara, I don't know a lot about the group because I haven't been around. Joanne Wise introduced me in 2018. I know that there were some pretty interesting talks here back then at Mary's place. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if one day I could come back and give a talk here? Recognized is that not everybody here really fully knows astrology, which is fine. Not everybody can be an astrologer. A lot of you are psychics or channelers and I've done all of that through my life because I think most of us are born with that. And whether we've hidden it inside of ourselves or not, but in astrology, as I came to learn it, I learned it first out of a book called The Ephemeris, a bunch of tables. You wouldn't understand it. You'd look at it, it'd be a bunch of big squiggles. And from those squiggles came an understanding of not only myself, but my entire family, and then the people that I consult. And then I went into a world of consulting and conferences. But what I'd like to do, and what I was guided to do when I asked could I speak here, because when the note went out that we were going to have a Sakkara, my husband died in March, I went through some big health things, and I just was guided to come. And so I thought, well, I can speak on the sun in time because this is something everybody knows about. And what I just took you through, everybody knows about, right? Because we all wake up in the morning, or sometimes some of us like me in almost afternoon, but there are certain things that occur every day at the same times, no matter where on earth you are. The whole process of when the sun rises, and I'm going to put a little paper tape structure up here because a lot of you don't know what a chart looks like, and going home. So I'm going to put a little piece here. As astrologers use it up over here, and this is kind of like your opposite there. So when the sun comes up over that horizon, we come out of night, a totally different space, go into the twilight, right? And then we go into the day. And it moves across the day. And during that morning time, clockwise, right? We're going clockwise? Because I'm going to take you counterclockwise in a little bit, but not till the end. So we're going to rise up to the middle of the day, and usually in that morning we get up, we clean up, we go to work, or we go to do whatever it is we're going to do in the early part of the day. We get to noonish, we have lunch, or if you're me, breakfast. But this is the time of day when we're out in the world. Now, what I'd like you all to do is kind of just lean to that east. Kind of just lean to that east where the sun is. And now stretch your day is what we're reaching for. This is where astrologically, if you're looking at a chart wheel, this is where you're headed. This is where your reputation is way up here where everybody can see it. We can see everybody's hands, right? Everybody's hands. Okay, that's the middle of the day. And on the other side, now we're over here. And there, everything is seen and visible because the sun lights it up, which provides shadow, right, when you're out in the sun, which is an interesting phenomenon. I wanted to know what, but I want you to reach down, and I want you to see having raised up, and now you're reaching down toward that sun in the lower half of the air. And I'll put our midheaven, and go ahead and stretch back up. But you can't see the sun. Okay, it's be every day. But what is it? The midheaven, the descendant descending down into the horizon, and the time that is between when the sun sets at midnight, because sometimes it's not midnight, and then which is the worship the sun. Egypt, this was the most important thing, even though they could see the sacred seven planets. This was the reason for their being, and everything that they did were stars. The sun is a star. Astrologically, we use it as a planet, but we call it's a luminary. It illuminates. And when you go to the moon's a luminary too, but it does not have its own light. Guess where it gets its light from? This is where every bit of the moonlight comes from that you see. Okay, so now talk about the sun in time and seasons. Because you were born in a season. And this first set of seasons comes from, and here's where we went clockwise. This is where the sun rises, sets every day. We're going to start going counterclockwise now. We're going to go into the seasons. So the first season, look where it is. It's under the horizon. It's about itself and, being able to be right here at the horizon, kind of some ideas about, where humanity or people or itself needs to go, because they're very advanced. So you have Aries, which started the spring season. This is called the vernal equinox. It's equal night and equal day, equal night and equal day on the other side. This would be the 21st of March, 20th, 21st, 20th, 21st of September. So, equal night, equal day. And then we lead down from Aries to Taurus to Gemini in the springtime. And then you have a solstice, the longest day of the year, shortest night. So if you have an 18-hour day, you're only going to have a 6-hour night. So time stretches, the time of the light stretches and shrinks astrologically. So your chart wheel, your seasons are going counterclockwise, and the sun, where are we now? The 20th, 21st, 19th, that's when your signs change, the cusps. These things, the cusps. And what a cusp is, it's a doorway. All right, imagine I got a doorway right here, right? And this could be a sign, or these are called houses. I am right here, and I literally was born on a cusp of Virgo Leo. And so you're in the doorway. Well, you got all the experience of where you're coming from, and now you're going into here, and you can see all the stuff you're going toward at a 0. But when you step into it, then you're in the sign. Now I'm a Virgo, so I'm stepping into Virgo, and Leo's back there. Born. What does this have? Well, seasons are time, aren't they? They are the entire year. And when you have the born in the middle of the afternoon, can you point to where I would be born? Right over here, middle of the afternoon. This is middle of the day, like noon-ish, between morning and night. This is your separator. And middle of the night separator. Anyway. Today. All right. Anybody Leo in here? Happy birthday, Leo. It might not be today, but it's around here soon, right? Well, this is if you weren't born at sunrise, say Leo was up over here. What do you mean Leo's up over there? Well, the sun moves the whole season with it. Season doesn't change just because the sun's moving, and it's really the earth moving, not the sun. But we feel like the sun's moving because that's what we're watching every day. So they're over here, followed by Virgo, which is followed by Libra, which is followed by Scorpio. Rising. You ever hear of a rising sign? Okay, and then Leo will come, and the opposite, you got Aquarius over here. What? What do you mean? Well, the sun took it. Now, for real, for good. We are in the stage of is about warm and generous and loving and shining and giving. Aquarius is about the middle of winter. Who's Aquarius in here? All right, y'all were born in the middle of winter. So your countenance is going to be a middle of the winter countenance. Going to be a little more pulled in, a little more scientific, thinking outward into the world. Leo enjoys its little pleasures. Not that Aquarius doesn't enjoy pleasures, but you've got a fire sign here. You've got an air and air and water always opposite. So now, sun is set, going down through the sky, down to that bottom of the earth. It took Leo with it. Now you got Aquarius here, over here. And what's opposite Scorpio? Rising. So that's why it's important to know your birth time astrologically. Then you're going to start the next day all over again. With the rest of the planets, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and we still love Pluto. We love Pluto because Pluto is the first planet in from the solar system. It's the first one that you're going to pass if you are coming from a different solar system, or at least its orbit, if you don't pass the planet itself. And Pluto is about what's deep within, what is at your core, your deep soul, the one that rides with you through all of the lifetimes and all of the spaces that your being will go through. And so Pluto, being in the sign of Aquarius of the New Age, is going to take us into places that are far distant from that warm Leo. Most of us in this room were born with either Pluto in Cancer, or Pluto, which is about family life changing, or Pluto in Leo, which is about love. What would they say? Drugs, sex, and rock and roll when we were growing up. You know, the fun stuff. And serious after that. We got serious after that. You know, we went from Leo into Virgo and so on. And now we've come Pluto all the way to Aquarius, which is about the New Age. It's about the mind. It's about AI for sure. You know, and the interesting thing about today, I double booked this conference. I have an AI conference that I should have been at today. But AI or metaphysics, what am I better? I had a speaking engagement here. I'm like, oh my goodness, how did I do that? You know, but AI is coming in. The whole Pluto's in a sign for around 20 years. All right. Another thing, I'm going to give you the update, okay? Because I feel like since she's not here, you don't have it. So Pluto in Aquarius is now there to stay. We've got the planet that's next in, and I always look at the outer planets first. The other planets run around, go crazy, have gossip, all that stuff, the early planets, the planets inside of Mars. The outer planets, they're the big stuff. So then we got Neptune, and Neptune just moved into the sign of Aries out of Pisces, which meant it completed a full round of the zodiac, 360 degrees, all the signs, and it's now back at the beginning in the pioneering sign of Aries. Neptune is our metaphysical planet. It's the planet of spirit and psyche and psychology and all the things that go bump in the night. Well, not all of them. Some are Pluto's. But they are our mysteries. Neptune is our mysteries and our desires, internal desires. But Neptune went to Aries, so that's all about. So we have this Aquarian teamwork Pluto with this individual, what am I going to do spiritually for service, which is Neptune. What am I, Aries, going to do spiritually for service, Neptune. And Neptune stays in a sign for 14 years, and it's just begun. Then Uranus has changed signs. Now this is phenomenal. This, having all these planets change signs at the same time, this does not happen very often. You know, I can't quote how often, but not very often. Uranus is now out of the sign of Taurus where it's been stuck in the mud. And Uranus is now it moved into the sign of Gemini just. And that's going to be all the thinking processes really quickening. All of our minds picking up things much faster. Now longer feeling so sluggish. Like, we're Uranians if we're metaphysicians. We've got a lot of things going on different dimensions, and all that dimensional stuff that we do, it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be fabulous. But we got to get through the earthbound stuff, which is our next planet in, which is Saturn. And Saturn is the first of the 7 sacred planets because the ancients in Egypt might have been able to see the farther outs, but we, for many hundreds of years, could not see those outer planets. So Saturn's the first planet we can see. And Saturn has got those rings around it. It's a beautiful planet, but it wants you to stay put and do what it wants you to do. It's the controller planet. And it went through Pisces. It just spent 28 years moving through all the zodiac signs. So think back. What have you been doing for 28 years? You're into that cycle now. That's the earthbound cycle. That Saturn is your earthy planet. It has more to do with Earth than a lot of the other planets that I just talked about. What have you been doing for 28 years? And you're going to start new again because it moved out of Pisces into Aries, another pioneering space. Saturn represents the governments of the world, by the way. They are moving into a new and pioneering space. So that's what's happening in the big picture in the world. Then we've got Jupiter. Jupiter just moved out of a sign, but he only stays in a sign for a year. Saturn. Saturn went from Pisces into Aries. And he's moving back. These planets do what's called retrograde. They go back a little. Saturn's going to go back into Pisces a little bit this year, then head on into Aries for the next 2.5 years. He's in a sign for 2.5 years. So that will be official next year. Now, Saturn is going to pass Neptune next year. It comes this close to passing it. Like, they're just like this close together. And then Saturn's going to back up. He backs up faster than Neptune backs up. And then by February of next year, he's going to come by and pass, which is going to set a lot of plans that have been into motion but not in fruition and not in manifestation. This is going to allow us to start manifesting those visions that we're having now. So, Donna, Wendy, your vision. This is, kind of when the manifestations start, is once that Saturn passes that Neptune. And those are the big manifestations, Neptune, Saturn. And then we've got, let's see, Jupiter, I was just talking about, went out of the sign of Gemini, stays in the sign for a year. Okay? He's not particularly happy in Gemini, too much busyness. He likes wide open spaces, not a lot of crowded this and that. Jupiter's now in the sign of our homes, in the sign of Cancer. And so home life and getting things organized there, enlarging things, because Jupiter's our biggest planet, right? And he enlarges things. He enlarges appetites too. Yum. And he's in the sign of Cancer, which is all about foodstuffs and good stuff, and Taurus too. A couple of years ago, you might have experienced that yum time. But Jupiter's here for the year, also in the sign of Cancer, which should. One of the things when I'm standing up here thinking about, how you think behind the thinking, that's coming in is that this camp came in at the noon time, at the 0 degree time, when all these places, things are coming together. Well, if you're at a new time, guess what? You're kicking out an old time, right? Which means that everything that Mary had you all prepare for, and I wasn't part of that, but you all were, everything that she had you prepare for the last 28 years, she left at a time when it was the beginning. The beginning. April started it. It's the beginning. And whoever are her successors, this is your gift. So back to the sun in time, because I think I'm about done here. No, I got a little more time. I wanted to ask some questions, or have asked me some questions, if you've got some, because I know I tried to make it as clear as possible, as simple as possible, but sometimes it's still real. Astrology can be really complicated. So what you got for me? Yes. I'm sure there has been. There's a whole group of astrology called mundane, and those astrologers are looking at the world, and they are looking at places and things. And I do a little bit of mundane astrology, but I haven't looked at Los Angeles. But yeah, okay, I will. Any time particular next year? Okay. Yep. she's got some things going. You want to you want to share with us what you know? Okay, well, all of the planets, those outer ones that I just talked about for this year, are pretty much in a very similar place for next year. They've only moved a little bit, those outer ones, so they're still there. And then that Saturn's passing by, I think it's in February, which to me would be the start of all of that kind of, this whole flooding thing that we've got going. That's been all that Pisces energy finally being released. And because Pisces is the oceans and represented by Neptune, which is the god of the sea, and we've been in the waters now for 14 years while Neptune's been there. Now we're going to the fires. Okay, so we're moving out of that. So out of the waters are going to come the dryness, and then when the water does come, the dryness doesn't accept water. So we're experiencing that now because it's happening now. We're in the now. We're in that period of time. So, anybody else? Yeah. No. Okay, so the moon's a body in space. Okay, and a rising sign is a construct made from around the Earth. So we're looking out. We're looking out from the Earth, which is in here. All right, and we're looking up at the sky here. All right, and the ascendant is a point in space. It is the rising sign, the horizon. The actual horizon is the ascendant. And where the sun has gone, let me give you another example. No, here, let me go back and do this again, okay, that I did earlier. We have the sun in Leo, okay? It's in Leo no matter where it is, because it's Leo right now. It could be in Timbuktu, but in the morning, when it rises, it's in Leo here. And then when I go up here, it's going to put Virgo here. So the sun takes its seasonal sign with it every day. Anybody else want some clarity on this? How many? Anybody else confused? More questions are good. Yeah. No, enlighten us.
Most important astronomically advanced space study because Sirius has that 365 and a quarter day sidereal year tweet. I'd be curious if you do a chart for the sidereal chart in Cairo on 2030 on the summer solstice. The Egyptians seem to have favored that date because the iconic pyramids that they placed in the pyramid field represent a huge astronomical chart.
I'd like to run that chart. Yeah, if you let me get the data from you.
It's 11, we get that Jupiter, Venus, Sirius, star conjunction in Cancer.
Or Venus and Jupiter, the two planets that are lining up with the Sirius star. And that was a good day.
It should be an excellent day. Jupiter and Venus together are called the greater and the lesser benefics. Greater benefic Jupiter because he's so generous and so big and so grand, and Venus just likes nice stuff. So it promises to be a nice period of time, and that there are conjunctive star. It should hit us somewhere in our own personal deep soul because we're star children. Yeah. Yes. Sure.
I'm also always curious because I was born on the 21st. From Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So people tell me I'm more like a Leo, but my whole life I've been going with Cancer. So I want to know, like, how do you know what you designate for?
Okay, so here's my take on it. The planet Mercury is how we think. And Mercury never gets more than 28 degrees in that whole 360 away from the sun. So it can be in the sign next to your sun sign. It can be in your sun sign or the other one after the sun sign. So a lot of times our Mercury is where we're thinking more like a Cancer when our sun sign says we're a Leo. So that we're really warm and protective at the same time, you know, because you've got this thinking process that says Cancer, protect, take care of, you know, and then the sun says be warm, generous, and giving, you know, and so some people will see the warm, generous, and giving, and some will see the caretaking. You better take home some chicken soup person, you know. So that Mercury has a lot to do with your thinking process. Your sun is this is your spirit, right? And when your heart goes, this is your heart. When your heart goes, you go. Your spirit is done here. Doesn't mean the spirit went anywhere, right? But the heart might have went somewhere. So yeah, that Mercury thing is oftentimes what throws people off. And about the sun sign at a cusp. So I met my husband when he was 64, and I'm an astrologer, and I'm 19 years younger than him. That's an eclipse cycle, by the way. And when I met him, he said he was 2 years younger than he was. Well, you know, he was old anyway. So those 2 years really didn't make a difference to me. But what the interesting thing was is that he was a 0-degree Virgo. He was born on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. He and I have very similar birthdays, and he always thought he was a Leo because he had that Mercury in Leo. He had Mars in Leo. He thought like a Leo. He acted like a Leo, but he was a Virgo, and he's very generous, kind. He was in children's juvenile justice all of his life, except for the last 20 years, which he spent teaching. But anyway, he learned from his wife, the astrologer, that no, honey, you are not a Leo. You are a Virgo. And he took it on very nicely. You know, a lot of people don't change their identities that easily. But you know how I knew he was a Virgo? He could change his identity that easily. You have what are called cardinal, fixed, and mutable signs. Cardinal signs are go-getter, go, go, go. They don't necessarily finish, but they go, go, go get it, right? Your fixed signs stick with something, hold on to it, honor it. It's precious. Your mutable signs are, let's change it. Let's do this. You know, I can adjust to that. That's, you know, so there's cardinal, fixed, and mutable signs. There's all this stuff astrologically. It's all beautiful. It's all wonderful. And I love it. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't say, wow. Wow. Yes. When you're born. So if you were premature, that's how the sky was set up when you separated from your mother. Because all of us have mothers, even if they're not still living, even if they had us adopted out, we all had mothers. We all separated from that mother. And that is the time. Some astrologers say first breath, some say cord cutting. You know, that at that point in time, that's such a minute little difference, you know. Yeah. Yes. Well, that could be true. Here's my take on that. So this is why I like natural birth, but we don't have natural birth very much on this planet anymore. But I always envisioned that as that baby is coming through that birth canal, that the soul is being like, I always saw it as like a steamroller, kind of steamrolled into that body, just kind of fit into that body as you're going through that birth canal. So that's what sealed that. But now we have so many babies that are born cesarean. We have so many babies that are born from test tubes. We have so many babies and people that have this like loose structure that I am really interested in watching over the next years to see, you know, and you can kind of look at the background of the planetary things when all these things started to happen. And I don't know that the soul seals in quite as well as it used to. If you wanna, that's just my opinion, because there's just not that process that goes on anymore. We're in Aquarian age. We're in a new process. Who knows? They might never even have babies after this. You know, they're just like it's new. So, and of course, we all have a lot of opinions, and who knows if they're right or wrong or okay. Huge. Some people try and put Western astrology into a Vedic framework, but it doesn't fit. Vedic astrology is the astrology from India, and they actually use the backdrop of the stars. What we use is the backdrop of what's called the ecliptic, which is this band around the Earth that the planets travel in. So they're going to travel in this little band around the Earth, not up here, not down there. They're within this band, the ecliptical band. That's what the sun moves through for the season. That's what tells us what season we're in, is where it's moving through that ecliptic. Vedic astrology uses not just the birth chart, but they use derivative charts based on the birth chart. And so if you're going to get married, you're going to have your natal chart, her natal chart, or his natal chart, and then you're going to have the derivative marriage charts based on those charts. And they have different meanings similar to ours, but not the same. And they use square charts instead of round charts. And there's other differences, but I think that's good enough for now. We good? Yeah. Oh, one more question. One more question.
Astrologer and just trying to.
Well, that would be an astronomical thing, and that I haven't come across. Well, it's out at the edge of the solar system, right at the Kuiper Belt, which is a bunch of other smaller bodies beyond that. And my theory about Pluto, I have all these theories. So Pluto in mythology was the god of the underworld, right? The god of the underworld didn't want to be seen. The god of the underworld only came up to check cracks in his world. And then he got hit by this arrow, Cupid's arrow, and then he got Persephone and he brought her down into the underworld. But he didn't want to be in the above world. So when they demoted him as a planet to a planetoid or whatever, mini planet, whatever they're calling him now, he was thrilled. You don't have to look at him anymore. But he does still work, and he provides a lot of power. So when Pluto was discovered, that was when the atom was split. And when the atom was split is when we got nuclear power. Boom. Tiny little planet. Boom. tiny little atom, amazing amount of power. So that's Pluto. So the scientists kind of shoved him up under. We don't use Pluto power anymore, because that was mafia time. So we give a lot of there's a lot of ways that we look at how to interpret the planets. One is mythology. The other is what was happening in the world when it was discovered. Industrialism came in with Uranus. Psychism and Marie Blavatsky came in with Neptune, and hypnotherapy, and photography came in with Neptune, and Pluto brought that power, that extreme power. That's it. I'm done.